I'm a bright star in the nighttime. I'ma go hard when it's my time. Yeah, I'm hard and I'm light. You know you can't pause when the time's right. Sitting in the stars and watching you.
Good afternoon and welcome to Season 3 on Chatbox with Sam. Today's guest is the lovely Megan Henry, a producer, a writer and an actress. Megan, how are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm so wonderful, Sam. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. It's so good to have you on Chatbox with Sam.
Nice to finally connect.
It certainly is, and we connected through Tony ANGELO, Safe Harbor Films. You've been in the industry for quite a while, and I know you're in between writing a book.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Would you like to share with the audience a little bit about that? I know you're writing it right now.
Yeah, so I actually have the first draft done. I'm working with an editor, and I love sacred agitation and delicious disruption in the highest and best way. I'm a big proponent of challenging convention, because we're constantly shifting and growing and evolving. And my book is about the next evolution of gratitude. And gratitude is a wonderful virtue. It's very powerful. It's very necessary. And also, like anything, right, there's polarity, there's duality, hot, cold, good, bad, love, hate. I have found in my own experience that gratitude can be very limiting. It's usually misapplied, misunderstood. We pay lip service to it in many respects. We just slap it on and think, oh, I'm being a good little spiritual warrior and I'm being I'm being grateful, excuse me. And we're not in many instances fully utilizing the highest intelligence of the wisdom. And so we're limiting ourselves in many respects. So I touch upon my own experience, what's really shifted my life in significant ways. And I share what to use instead, which I'm going to keep under wraps. If you're finding that your gratitude practice isn't as expansive or liberating as you know that it can be. So, just to touch a little bit upon the gratitude topic, like anything, there's a shadow side, an unconscious aspect to everything. And gratitude can be toxic. We use it as a weapon against ourselves, against other people. So I really am hoping to create a movement and shift behavior in a way that we're really living our most empowered, fully expressed essence, if you will, in every moment. I believe that's what a superhero is. You and I and everybody in between, whether you've got a global stage or you prefer to just live a more quiet life. Everybody's powerful, everybody serves a purpose, and everybody is a superhero.
You know what's powerful to me? Empathy and kindness.
Yeah.
It's free, it doesn't cost anything, and it takes more energy in your face to frown than it does to smile.
It does. Oh, I love that.
It does. And gratitude, a lot of people forget now to say thank you. And it's just 2 syllables. Thank you.
It is.
Because especially, it shouldn't be expected, but hopeful,
Absolutely.
It makes a big difference.
It does. And there's a gratitude on its face. I'm not saying ditch gratitude. I'm simply saying for many of us, and I use my own personal experience with my relationship with gratitude, it was very toxic. And I was, for much of my life, in a state of resentment, right? So I call it hateful grateful. Well, you're canceling it out. But what if you can learn to just be okay with the lower thought forms, right? With the negative feelings about something and still feel an expansiveness around this is serving me. I may not understand why in the moment. I don't have to encourage more of the same. I can have a healthy boundary. And also it keeps me in a more receptive state of possibility, of compassion, of love. And it's more inclusive because you begin to see other people as co-conspirators in your evolution. If you have the courage and the compassion to lean in.
Wow. That's awesome. That's definitely a refreshing outlook, you know. So you're not saying don't be grateful. You're not saying don't have gratitude. You're saying be mindful of it.
Right. And I do share a subtle yet profound sort of, if you look at the vibrational scale, right? Gratitude can sometimes be mired in lack frequency, whereas I invite a different understanding, a higher understanding of the virtue, if you will, and then to apply that.
Wow. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to your book. Definitely.
Thank you. No, well,
That
we
should
gotta
be.
we gotta finish writing it. But yes, I have a fantastic editor. She's phenomenal.
Oh, great. And then just the publisher, and then you're good to go.
Yep.
We'll promote that puppy everywhere.
Yeah, thank you.
I interviewed Dee Wallace, and she loves writing books, and her books are so deep and meaningful. And
Yep.
I just met her in Florida, and she's such a beautiful person. And she walks her talk, you know what I mean? Yeah,
I've met Dee. She really is lovely.
beautiful.
Very lovely.
Yes, absolutely. And you're an actress, a producer, and a writer. Would you like to share with the audience what inspired you into your career and the projects you're working on now?
Sure. You know, I remember, like many of us probably, right? We're children and we're playing in our imagination. And I was, slaying dragons, and I was a princess one moment. And then I was, a baker in another moment, and a factory worker, and all, wherever my imagination took me, I gave myself permission to explore that. And somebody who was adopted, I didn't completely understand who I was. Now, to be fair, I don't know that we ever really completely understand the magnitude of our divinity and the essence of who we truly are. But more than anything, I was sort of looking around the world going, who do I relate to? Who do I look like?
My father was adopted at 5 weeks old. He found his blood parents when he was 30, and he was always lost because he wanted to know where he came from.
Yeah.
So it was a void that he needed to fill.
Yes. And so for me, I could imagine, and my parents are wonderful. I would not change the scenario or the upbringing or my soul journey, any of it. I would not change it all. And at the same time, it was such a brilliant sort of, I guess, igniter, if you will, into, well, who am I? And maybe I can kind of go into the recesses of my imagination. I can explore my shadow self. I can explore the parts of me that I don't quite like, or I don't know how to love, or and I can also explore the brilliance in me too through these different characters. So I've always just had that fascination.
So he brought you into the industry.
Yeah,
I can see that. You could express yourself in different ways like you were as a child, but in an adult, and because you're still yourself when you're playing a part. You're still yourself.
Course.
You just become that emotion, that character.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right.
Well, you've just played in You're It. That's a short film with Jonathan Heap.
Yes.
That may be coming out. Would you like to share a little bit about that, what you can within the NDA?
Yeah, well, so it's a short film. It's part 2 of a short film. I was not in the first one, and I wanted to say, Jonathan Heap, it's such an honor to work with him. He is an Oscar-nominated director, and it's a 9-minute thriller short. I don't want to say too much, but it keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it's winning some festivals so far. It's a whole process, the festival journey, and we've only just begun. So I'm excited to see where it goes. And we're filming part 3 right now.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, so we'll see what happens and where that goes.
I know the description on IMDb. It's a bit epic, the spiritual forces. Right?
Yeah.
I always love stuff like that and sci-fi. It's the best,
It is, yeah.
It is. It's like, ooh. I was just talking to someone about the music, about music in film and stuff, how it makes a huge difference where it's placed and what it is at that moment.
Well, it does. And I think sound and music is very, very powerful, and especially the frequency and the hertz, right? It has the power to activate us, right? And to expand our sort of energetic field. And it also has the power to keep us in a contracted state. So I'm somebody who's very much interested about using the highest frequency of music possible in storytelling. It doesn't mean it can't be an eerie, spooky song, because there's value in that. But it's about, the components and the harmonics and how it all comes together.
Right. You say about storytelling, that's very important to you. Would you like to share why and give an example?
Storytelling. I think it's what's interesting about stories. It connects us. It allows us to expand our imagination, explore different pathways and potentials. And at the same time, many stories are disempowering. And a lot of times we keep running the same loop, the same pattern of a story in our mind, and we don't necessarily know how to, or we don't give ourselves permission to challenge that. I believe everything serves a purpose until we're ready to elevate beyond. And often I find that in storytelling, we are entrained against our natural divine nature. We're entrained into the idea that we're limited, rather than we are infinite multidimensional beings all the time, and everything is available to us.
Yes, that's awesome. You have a very good outlook, Megan. I really like it. It's very refreshing. And it's directly refreshing. And I like that. I like direct. It's like, this is how I feel, this is how I think, and I'm telling you all about it. I love it.
Oh, thank you. And it's such a challenge. I'm noticing sort of my blind spot is I tend to have all of these ideas that can feel very simple, even though sometimes it might be a higher concept or a complicated concept, but sometimes I have trouble distilling it, right, in digestible, palatable terms. So I'm kind of, which is why I have an editor on my book, because I'm going, help! I just need to get this out in a cohesive, digestible way,
Yeah. We all need help with editing. I 100% agree. I just spoke to someone yesterday and said, I need help with editing, but it's not because I can't edit, because I think I've learned to be a good editor, and I'm still learning. But it's time consuming.
Right? Oh my gosh. And I get out in the weeds sometimes, and I need someone to pull me back. You don't need to be out in the weeds.
Right. I think that's all of us. It's just human nature. We try to run before we can walk, and then you have to step back and look in films. I realised you were on Day Labour with Danny Arroyo and Gary Carnes.
Yes. Came in for a day, and I had a lovely scene with another actress. I did not, unfortunately, get a chance to work with much of the cast. Right. Gary's a great actor.
He is. He's a lovely guy. You're in General Hospital and Funny or Die. So you're in TV series, and you will be playing in a series with Safe Harbour Films.
Yes.
Shortly. So
I'm looking forward to that.
We're all going to be on set together. It's going to be great. Vernon Wells and Tom Concord and Tony Angelo. And the writer, William Kilpack. So I look forward to definitely meeting you in that. So have you got any other upcoming projects that you're working on that you can share?
Yes. So I have a short script that is for myself. It's a reverse engineered $1 Million Baby, and we're in the process of raising the financing for that now. And Jonathan has also come on board to direct that. So, hopefully we'll film that this year. I'm very excited. It is a setup to a feature.
Mm-hmm.
And the feature's not written yet, so.
Oh, well, it all takes time. There's a
It
lot of work
does.
that goes on behind the scenes that people don't realise. It's very hard work and it's very time consuming and it takes time. Rather
Yeah,
than rushing a project and getting it out there, it's best to
right.
get it right, then get it out there, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And everything, even with this book, I've said to myself, look, I have an idea in the ego mind of when I think this should be put out,
Mm-hmm.
into the public realm. And at the same time, it has its own consciousness. It's going to be birthed when it wants to be birthed. So I just have to get out of the way and be the vessel for the, wisdom to channel through me, and then, take the action steps and let it go.
What a lovely way to speak. I like the way you said that was very artistic. Very nice. I love it. I love artistic
I have
speech.
my note cards here. No, I'm just kidding.
I have two ring lights and they're blinding me, but that's okay. It helps with the lack of Botox.
Oh my gosh, you're beautiful. And sometimes when you've got the ring lights in your eyes, it's almost better. Not that we want to harm ourselves, but then you don't really have time to be nervous or second guess yourself, because you just kind of like
it helps.
Right.
I just moved them back. I moved them back a bit because I looked like an owl at midnight. I was like, ding.
Well, owls are wise.
They are, aren't they? They definitely are. If you were going to inspire the younger generation, what would be your main focus?
My main focus, and I would say this is sort of an all-encompassing umbrella of my messaging, which can be applied to all areas of your life: acting, music, writing, teaching, lawyering, whatever it is that you're here on planet Earth to do. I want people to give themselves permission to shift out of transactional living into transformational living, to be fully, richly, abundantly expressed in every moment, which I mentioned. To me, that's a superhero. And to be an active participant in their life rather than a passive, which many of us, sometimes we just sort of resign ourselves to this take what is given, which
Right.
I experienced a lot in my life. I thought
Yes.
that because there was, some lawyers were involved in the legalization of my adoption. I mean, it all sounds so odd, right? As a child, how do you process all of this? And I understand the importance and the significance of all of it. But the point was, the way that I internalized that, I was very confused about the terms of my life. Well, I didn't sign this contract. I have no idea what the terms are. Well, what does this mean? Can I amend? Can I change? Can I shift? Or do I just sort of have to sit back and go, all right, well, I was given life, so maybe that's all I can ask for. And I just have to sit here and just wait for somebody else to grant me permission to be me. And it's been a pain point and also a source of incredible power in my life. And I want other people to understand. We all probably feel to some degree, what are the terms of my life, right? And we're waiting for a guarantee before we take action. We want to avoid the rejection and the judgment and the criticism and all the things. Nobody wants to feel that way. But at the same time, the guarantee is you living in your heart, following your joy without conditioning love for yourself. That's what it's about.
That's a good inspiration for the youth and in and out of the industry and in life too.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that, Megan.
You're welcome.
Is there any charities that are close to your heart that you would like to advocate for, and what are they?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I'm somebody that likes to research charities a lot, just to make sure that everybody's in integrity, the money's going where it says it's going to go, yada blah. Right now, where I've been sort of donating my money when I'm able to, as I'm able to, are to the spiritual healers and facilitators and intuitives and people that have really helped me. And so I'll say, here's, however much money, please gift this to somebody who may not otherwise be able to afford a hypnotherapy session or
Right.
a Reiki session or whatever it is. And also I'm very much into supporting groups, and I don't exactly know what this looks like yet. But I mentioned the adoption, and I know there's a lot of people that are hurting on both sides of that, right? Birth parents and adoptees. And so, however, I'm able to either lend monetary support or my own experience, my own perspective of it, then I would love to offer some sort of paradigm shift.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you. And what are your hobbies when you're not at work and it's just you? What's your favorite thing to do?
My hobbies are sass. No.
I like it.
I was doing archery for a while. I want to get back into that, of course, with COVID. Things changed.
I love
but
that.
I love archery, and I love kickboxing. Gosh, what have I been doing lately other than, those are two things that feel exciting to me. And then, I like to read.
Don't we all?
But I'm telling you, I don't like Kindle. I see the value in it. I like the books. I like to
you
go
can
to the
smell the page.
Yes. The texture, you can smell it. Who's held this before? What experience did somebody else have? I love going to used bookstores.
Me too. I always do.
Yeah.
Why
and
not?
Paying like $1 or $3 for a book.
Donate and get one. Yeah, donate my old books that I've read and then get new ones. Sharing is caring, right?
Yes. So that is a hobby. I love going to old bookstores.
Yes, I like that too. I like the romance novels, and then I like other novels like Williams books, and then I interviewed a girl last year and I've got her book. It's very, very funny. So, yes, it's good to read, and I love music and dance. Do you dance, Megan?
I'm actually a good dancer. I don't dance officially, but, my boyfriend and I will go out and we enjoy, having a night. We actually took salsa lessons. That was fun. We did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Do you like to dance as well?
I do. My grandfather taught me ballroom when I was 3. So the tango is a little bit like an uppity salsa. So all you gotta do is move your hips a little bit more, move your feet a little bit more, move your body a little bit more, and So obviously I couldn't do salsa with my grandpa because that would have been inappropriate. But we did the tango.
Oh my God! But it's so interesting that you bring up dancing. It's so important, especially now that we get into our bodies, right?
Yes,
and we release the energy, and we just give ourselves permission to just kind of be that open conduit,
Right, yeah. Do you know, I put the music on, I go, Alexa, play 80s. And ever since I was a kid, I'm still doing it now, and I'm a grandma. And I go in the kitchen and I put the music on and I dance around. I
love that.
Cleaning, but dancing. I'll go in the living room and I love it. It's good exercise. You move your whole body and it's therapeutic for me. And I love. And I'll be doing that until I'm on a walking stick.
That's amazing. Oh, it's the best. And we put on the music and he cooks.
Does he? You don't cook, Megan?
I don't.
Do you know, I found that a lot in America. A lot of women tell me they don't cook. Now,
really?
I've got a big Irish family, and they'd be, you don't cook? What do you mean you don't cook? they find it tragic.
It's just not. I love good food, and I love to sit down and have meals, and I like, the experience of it. And obviously, eating is important, but it just, as an art form or as a hobby, it never really spoke to me. I'm like awkward when I cook. I don't know. Really? I just throw shit in a pan. And
that's the best way. I'm going to throw it in her. You can get the best stuff when you throw stuff in. I never measure anything. I just bit of this, bit of that, throw it all together, and my kids love it.
Well, kind of like it reminds me of a casserole, or like my mother will say, she's a phenomenal cook, but there's certain recipes that, she'll call dump recipes where they're like idiot proof and anyone can make them, like myself.
Perfect. It's like Irish cockle. Everything's in there. I'm sure once we found a sheep's foot, it was really bad.
Yeah.
Just kidding
Or
about the sheep's
or
foot.
corn flakes for that crunch. I mean,
Oh,
who
I love
knows?
that. Cornflakes with the chocolate. It's the best. If this was the last time, Megan, you were ever going to say something, what would you say?
Oh, wow. What would I say? Really start to get curious about your triggers, because there's a lot of treasure there,
There is. And
and
we do have
with
triggers.
we do. And it's really, a lot of it is an unloved or unintegrated, misunderstood aspect of ourselves that's wanting to just be witnessed and acknowledged, right? We can't shift what we don't acknowledge. Now, again, we want to have healthy boundaries. We want to have the proper tips and tools. If we need, teachers, coaches, facilitators that are most appropriate, all of those things. Yes. But it starts with us having the courage to parent that inner child and going, okay, I'm feeling really uncomfortable. So I'm hitting a threshold or an old pattern or an old self concept that's outdated, and it's not the truth of who I am. And that's a lot of what I love about acting, is it allows me to get really uncomfortable. And I know when I'm in judgment of a character, that's what I need to explore, because I'm judging some aspect of myself in that role.
Wow, that's great the way you look at that. And that's very true. A lot of artists, actors have said the same thing.
Right.
They be themselves but portray that person. Obviously, they're not going to
Right.
be a murderer, but they put
No,
themselves in that role and them feelings. So you have to experience all that to be able to portray that, right?
because and then from that space we can have compassion, and when we start to have compassion with ourselves, right, if we're all connected, it starts with the one as an aspect of the all. Then each of us that lives in greater levels of compassion with consistency, then we start to demonstrate that for other people, which is part of what I talk about in my book. When we shift to the more conscious aspect of gratitude without saying what the virtue is, then we start to be an embodiment of greater compassion that creates resonance for other people.
That's perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that,
You're
Megan. And
welcome.
people can find you. You have an IMDb
Yes.
with your
Hmm.
projects on, and you've been working in the industry for quite a while
Yeah.
now. And you're Megan Henry, Meghenhenry.
And
Because I
R1.
know there's an athlete, Megan Henry too. So
Oh,
look for,
interesting.
yes, there is. So look for Megan Henry, the actress, producer, and writer, and going soon to be author on
Yay.
social media. Look at for Megan. She is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. She has lots of nice pictures on Instagram, and Facebook is mainly where I see her. Megan doesn't tweet too much.
I've never really been much into Twitter.
A lot of people aren't because of its politics.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's understandable. People like to stay away from arguments, which is
Yes.
which is negativity. So Megan, have you got any last words for the audience that you'd like to share something?
Let me see. I would just oppose a journal prompt. What is something in your life that you are not giving yourself full permission to access or be or to experience or to demonstrate? And with compassion, not judgment, why do you think that is? Or what, I guess, how can you shift your self concept to understand that you are worthy of that?
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Megan, It's been an honour and a pleasure to talk with you. You're a beautiful soul and a beautiful lady. But thank you so much for being on season 3 on Chatbox with Sam.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, Sam. And I look forward to meeting you soon.
I know, in person. I can't wait. Mwah.
I'm a bright star in the nighttime.